Hello guys, welcome back on my YouTube channel. I'm back again with another video. Okay, firstly, I had plans of making videos, which is I just got a download what exactly I had to talk about, but eventually I had other topics that I want to talk about. And when I'm looking at the time, it's dating, so it's a right time to talk about this. And I had to postpone what I wanted to talk about, so it feels like I am supposed to talk more about narcissistic, because there's something that say your pain is your soul purpose, because it's something that you went through, it's something that you overcome, it's something that inspire you to be curious about a certain individual that you came across. You were curious to see yourself without the pain that you experience, probably that was inflicted by people that you came across, because your sole purpose it's your pain. So I'm just gonna speak about this, and it's something that I just like, you know what, why I never mention it, why I never talk about it. What happened when narcissists know that you're narcissist? What do they do? Okay, I this video was actually inspired by, I was actually thinking about actually a Mercury, a retrograde, I think. So a lot of things that are past people, past things, past pattern of thinking, it's coming back. And until the Mercury retrograde is it's no longer in the retrograde, because it's since from today until early June. So since from 11 May to early June, I'm not sure whether it's 24 or 4 June. So, and I was thinking about this kind of thing, because a lot of narcissistic people are actually educated. So a lot of narcissistic people, they know, because they encounter people who told them, fuck you fucking narcissist. They come across people who actually who tell them that they are actually narcissistic and they're narcissist. So obviously I met someone who actually know that he was a narcissist, but the problem with him, he knew about narcissist. But the first thing that he talk about, do you know what narcissist is? And I was like, I don't actually talk about a lot of things when I meet people. I just keep it surface, because I prefer surface conversation with people until I feel safe to be vulnerable with you. I feel safe to talk about a lot of things, because I'm a sensitive person, and I'm also sensitive to bullshit. So when I come across this individual, and I was like, you know what do narcissists do when they know they're actually a narcissist? Because eventually I've never told past people that are actually narcissists, but one ex I did. And when I did, obviously, I don't know, probably did research and realized that he's actually a narcissist. And I don't know how that comes about, because I've kept when no contact. But I came across this individual, I think it was 2019. So what happened to the person? He knew that he's actually a narcissist, because it's actually uh I'm sure he actually dated someone who's spiritual, because he's obsessed with spiritual people. It was something that was off. He was obsessed, he was faking it, he was, don't get me wrong, meditating is for everyone, but he was talking about dead eye and shit and shit and shit. I'm like, but dude, I don't get your energy. Like, when I say I don't get his energy, his energy was dark. And two, I wanted to be fucking far away from that individual. So that was something that I've noticed, like, I don't like this guy's energy. So he just met me, like, it's not me, 30 minutes ago. Already he's just talking about, like, I don't know how he can feel people that are actually spiritual, how he can tell that these people are actually spiritual, they're carrying their nights. Or maybe it's just that a lot of people who have a spiritual gift, they have a lot of light, probably saw that, because I don't go about, hey, I'm a spiritual person, or I don't look like a hippie, or I don't look like a bohemian. So I just keep it low. I don't show up much about my gift until I feel safe, because bullying is real. So, and beside bullying, I just don't like opening up to a lot of people who don't know me personally. So the fact that I you don't have my number, that means why I should be vulnerable with you. Not everybody deserves actually vulnerability, your vulnerability. So what happened when the narcissist knows that they're actually narcissist? Okay, I'm just gonna make an example about that man, that encounter with that guy. So what he did, as I said, he pretended to be into this dead eye shit, and he pretended like his dead eyes open. He pretended like a lot of things. But you know what? Because I was already aware of a narcissist, and I was already aware of people who actually faking it, the spiritual side of them. They can even fake religiosity, but he was not religious. He was more like an honest, honest, something like that. People don't believe in God existence. So I was like, okay, mind you, I haven't even said anything. The conversation was dominated by him. The thing is, with narcissist people, they don't change as much as they have knowledge about a narcissistic tendency, and they may know that they're actually narcissists, but they try to act opposite what already. But for me, I've noticed with that guy, he knows the fact that a lot of narcissists, they pretend to be this they use other people's things, and act like it belongs to them. For example, they're gonna take pictures and next to a car, or next to a house, or next to a job, pretend like this is something that actually belong to them, or they're gonna act like they come across, like sit around with, like they have this uh extremely they act like they are the shit. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong being the shit. The problem is they act like they're superior. They act like they're above everyone. Like the thing is, narcissist, they don't that narcissist, he was not aware that he was give me a hint who he was, because at first I was kind of like, his dead eye is open, but I don't get a good energy from him. Not only that, the fact that the first thing that he talked to me about is narcissist. And you know what? When they know they're narcissist, they get to define narcissist to you in order for you to throw you off. That's what that narcissist did. He defined a narcissist for me. Mind you, I've been into this narcissist research since from 2018, and I had when I met the guy, I had a year and few months and into this researching. And I was when I'm obsessed with something, when I'm obsessed with knowledge, I get to not to rest, to the point that okay, I will sleep, but eventually I will still, I just want to know more in order for me to, whenever I can, because narcissists are actually robot. They don't have personality, they don't have personality, they don't have any kind of character. They're just people who copy other people in order for them to be seen as one of the best, kind of thing. So this narcissist guy, he was actually a musician. So he got to define me. It defined narcissists to me. When his definition was that narcissists are people who pretend to be something that they're actually not. And in terms of, he defined in terms of car, like pretending that you have something when you're not, that was his only definition. And I was like, why he felt the need to define, when someone is talking to you and you are getting like off energy, and then you instead of end up asking, questioning whatever that they're saying, and having questions, and be like, why am I getting that this person is trying to throw me off? Because I'm very connected with my gut feeling. I'm very connected with my gut feeling. I'm very intuitive. So I know when something's off. It's whenever I get karma for not listening to my gut feeling. Most of the time I knew before it happened, but eventually I had to heal from that, when look what exactly took place, what made me not believe in my gut feeling. My gut feeling is always right, and everyone is actually have a gut feeling. So a lot of people, like we are born spiritual, so a gut feeling is a spiritual thing. It's a divine protection. It's a divine love. So a lot of people are actually more in touch with it. So I'm more inclined with my spiritual uh, cap- spiritual gift. So this is something that I actually noticed. So this guy, the way I feel, he was obsessed with spiritual people. So he was going around mimicking uh what how spiritual people behave. He was going around defining um narcissists to people so that he can rearrange their gut feeling, because that's what they do. Narcissists, they get to rearrange your gut feeling. They hate people who actually have discernment. They hate people who listen to your discernment. They hate people who actually say things the way they are. They hate people who actually who are truthful. They hate people who actually empowered. They going around searching people who actually have a gift, and so that they can see how far they give you test in terms of psychological test to see how is your empowerment, how is also. So me, for me, I don't show that much of that, so I didn't show much. Instead, I was kind of like, I was still reading his energy, and I was like, you know what, this guy is off. So he divined me what narcissist is, and eventually I had a lot of questions, but I didn't ask him. And secondly, he was talking a lot about this dead eye shit, talking about angel numbers, about whatsoever. That he was talking like he's actually one of those chosen one, and I was like, okay. And don't get me wrong, there are actually a lot of people actually chosen, and I feel, as I said, I feel like that guy dated a woman who was actually chosen before me, because I'm also part of chosen one star seed, and he knew. So he didn't know who I am. As I said, a lot of people actually spiritual, they have a lot of, when you look at them, they have a different vibration. I can look ugly, I can go as much as have my ugly hair, but eventually my energy is what matter. What is actually vibrating on my soul level, it's something that you're gonna see outside. So a lot of people have that, who are spiritual, they have this you end up assuming that they're actually popular, but if you realize, no, they're not even popular. They have this kind of celebrity thing, which is not that they are celebrate, it's just that their energy is different. So I feel like he can tell with that. So as I said, he got to define what narcissist is. He got to tell me how he is whatsoever. And the thing is about narcissists that I don't know aware of is the fact that they brag. Narcissist people brag, and when they brag, it's that kind of bragging. It, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with flexing and bragging about things that you actually accomplish, and you know it's good and shit. But the problem with narcissists, they always brag about how they got away with doing wrong, doing things to people. they they end up bragging because it's something that they are so proud of. They're so proud of torturing people. He ended up in that conversation bragging about how he arranged other people's gut feeling. Not that he said, oh, I arranged. No, he was talking about the previous person that he dated. I don't know whether he dated or someone that he used for sex or money. Because the way he was like, I was like, I don't understand why women, I have this actual expectation of that men are supposed to have money and whatsoever and whatsoever, and they supposed, men are supposed to come with money, and they're supposed to go in about. And you know what, he ended up having, he said something like, oh, the previous one, I made sure I sunk, like, I made sure that I actually sulk the energy out of, like, not exactly the word, but he mentioned something like he sucked the energy, money out of her, in terms of like he made her uh give money. He made her to feel like he was entitled in her money. He like he was so entitled in his money. He was breaking about it, but not exactly as I'm saying, but I'm trying to make you to see what exactly what he was breaking about. Narcissists have a tendency of breaking about their evil things that they did to people. They brag about tracking people's code. When I'm talking about people's code, it's whereby people are actually looking, searching for your weaknesses. They search your weaknesses. They search what exactly they can use to manipulate you. The first thing that he did after revealing himself like that, eventually, because he thought maybe I don't see, I don't, because as I said, nurses always listen to the conservation, listen to whenever they're speaking. You will realize like, oh, you will have downloads about whatever, and whatever that they said, it always gonna bother you in your head. You'll be like, why this person said that, why this person said that, it always bother you. And you will end up feeling like maybe we are crazy, maybe we are being no, we are not being paranoid. The thing is with narcissist people, they always have some words that they choose to say. They are so entitled, they have this thing of bragging about their evil doings. They have this thing of bragging about tracking other people's code. they they're bragging about a lot of shit. So he knew that he was a fucking narcissist. So the first step he did, it was first did test. Obviously, the first thing he did when I actually met him, he actually asked for help, and I was like, okay, because I was not in a place where I feel like I was not gonna give, but I give. But eventually, I had to be like, this guy. He was actually there was actually a test. He was actually expecting me to do something for him, and eventually, I was kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna meet him halfway. And then when I came back to him and I gave whatever that he wanted, he said, I thought you were gonna do it for me. Mind you, he never mentioned that. He said, I thought you're gonna like, do you know when someone asks you to do something for them and then you do it, but you do it halfway in terms of like, it's because they're what they said. For example, when I say, um, I'm not gonna make example about what exactly happened in that situation. Oh, he like do you know when you actually ask him for, I'm just making an example, a Uber, like a Uber, and then a Uber, you using a Uber for transportation, obviously. So I'm helping you out. For example, you ask me to help you with calling out a Uber, and I'm giving you the chance to because you probably said your app is not actually working, or maybe you don't have space, so you actually end up deleting that Uber app. And then okay, fine, and then and eventually look, I called Uber for you. I don't know you. I just met you on the in the road, and you asked for my help, and I happen to have data, and I happen to have the Uber app. And then the next thing you tell me, I thought you're gonna pay for my Uber. And I'm like, okay, now I'm done. And then be like, did you pay? And end up he asking you, did you pay for my Uber? And you be like, huh? That was a thing. And I was like, what the fuck? It was something like that, but it was not an Uber. It was some sort of a DS a internet thing. He actually asked help for about internet thing, and I happened meet him halfway. And the next thing he expect me to pay for it, and I was like, what? And I was like, oh, he's so off. Like it was like, you is so off. And I was like, okay, fine. And I was like, this guy is off. But eventually he ended up talking about defining narcissistic for me, and then he's talking about this dead eye shit. And then he was telling me he's a musician, and then he actually tried to demonstrate his skill. Okay, his girl guitar skill was okay, but it was not as extraordinary as he said it was. It was just for, because I don't know how to play guitar, guitar. I don't know how to play guitar, so my skills actually wrecked compared to him. But he was just like it is. It was more like a mediocre kind of vibe, and because he said it's something that he started. He just bought his new guitar, and was like, okay. And the next thing, he was bragging about his skills. I was like, don't get me wrong, there's nothing bragging about your skills. I don't know where you come from. I don't know how your skills were, but it's just off when you're bragging to the point that you behaving like you are fucking extraordinary in terms of your skills. And when I'm looking at the skills, I'm like, hmm? So he was like that. He was bragging about him. And then he started singing. Okay, his voice was fine because when I compare my voice to him, like his voice was good. And then he also he allowed me to listen to his EP. When he said that he had an album that he actually did on 2018, and when I met him was 2019, and then he allowed me to listen to that album. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember how many songs there were there, but the only song that was actually okay was one. And I was like, okay, this song is okay. Like it's okay. Like you can listen to it, you can vibe in it to it. It was nice. It's just that I'm not into trap music, so but the music, like that song was really dope. So I was like, okay, that song is dope. And then when I actually went through old album of August Alsing, I went through August. I don't know what made me to go to August Alsing, because as much as I have listened to August Alsing's song whatsoever, I've never like go and search in terms of album in order to listen the whole album. Instead, I search for the second that song whatsoever. And guess what? The cover, the cover of his EP was the same cover that August Alsing did. And I was like, what? I'm telling you, like the cover of his EP, in the whole fucking album was. I'm talking about the design of the cover of the album. It was August Alsina, August Alsina, whereby I don't know where there was roses in the cover. I don't know which year was it, and I was like, fuck, like why is he copying him? And the first, you know what happened? The first thing that I've noticed when I was talking to him, I said, "You look like someone who's a celebrate, but I don't know who exactly." And I was like, "Oh, August Alsing." That was the first thing that popped up. I was like, "Fuck, it looked like August Alsing in a minute." And I was like, I get that a lot. And I was like, that was weird because I do get downloads about certain things to tell people exactly as it, but it was so weird that I August Alsing just pop up. Mind you, I don't listen to August Alsing that much, and that a song that I actually love about August Alsing, probably there are actually five, because as much I love rap, I prefer female rappers instead of male rappers. So that was the thing that popped up. And then the next thing, I don't know how I ended up sewing that, and I was like, the guy is fake. And I said, narcissist mimic people's personality. Narcissist mimic even his style, like even his style of that album. As much as this that song was good, but I realized it got August Alsina in it, and I was like, dude. But I didn't say anything because I knew this guy is fake as hell. Okay, he's still a musician and I'm sure he's still doing well. But what I've noticed, I've realized that I had someone who actually trying to copy me in terms of and the first person who popped up, it was him. Mind you, we had a lot of things that are actually common. We both grew up in a toxic home. We both grew up in alcoholic father who actually abusive. But for him, he was lucky because his mother wasn't. And what I've realized with this guy, he was trying to mirror me because I remember, I think I mentioned when he said he was trying to opening up about his uh mind you, it's still that day we met. Okay, opening up about him, about his abusive father and whatsoever. I was like, oh my god, I can relate. Like my father is, but I didn't mention my mother is also a narcissistic abusive. So he didn't know that. So he tried to mirror me in terms of as if he's my soulmate. And I was like, what the fuck? Like he was trying to mirror me in terms of like he's my soulmate. He was like, you're my soulmate. And I was like, what? Like, you know, when someone is trying to so hard to make you their soulmate, and you can tell it's fake. So he was trying to do that, and I was like, dude, I don't know you. My mistake with that, I gave him my number. When I gave him my number, you know what the dude did? He used to call me with angel numbers. And I was like, what? When he would call me at 11, 11, 12, 12, 12, 13, 13, 4, 4, 4, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, initially I was kind of like, okay, maybe it's just coincidence. And I was like, eventually I was like, no, it's not. He was doing that, guys. Mind you, in my Instagram account at that time, I was going through with my name. And I wrote down about angel numbers, what they mean, and whatsoever. I didn't tell him that I'm actually spiritual, but I think because I told him my name, probably he went and searched for my name, and then he found out who I am. And then the dude did that, and I was like, what the fuck? And don't get me wrong, I was eventually just, I was starting to be convinced that maybe I'm the crazy one or something. And then eventually, when I went to his I had the feeling that I should go to his Facebook, because I need to get things straight here, because I can't be feeling nothing for this dude. Instead, I see red flag, red flags, red flags, and if I see these red flags, why he's doing whatsoever that he's doing, why he's acting like he's my actually my soulmate. And when I went to his Facebook's page, that when things make sense. I told you that narcissist people, they brag about what they're doing to other people. They brag about how they got away with murder. They brag. That's one of the things that narcissists do. They dominate conservation. They talk about themselves. I realized, like, all along, he's just talking. He's talking. I'm not talking. Instead, I'm like, okay, okay. The conservation was all about him the first day, and when we started calling, it was about him. Like, he don't discuss things. Instead, he's just telling you. He's just ordering around. And I'm like, what? Like, I was like, what the hell? They don't know that he's a narcissist. I'm sure the previous girlfriend told him, or anyone, I don't know. The dude knew that he was a narcissist. This video I made for someone who actually was curious about what if the narcissist knew that he's actually a narcissist. And this is something that I've realized, and I also encountered that one guy who was actually a narcissist and showed that he's actually a narcissist, and two, he got to define what is narcissist for me in order for me to rearrange my gut feeling, in order for him to rearrange my discernment. Because I told you before that narcissist people hate people who are actually truthfully. Narcissists hate people who can see through them. Narcissists hate people who operate from discernment. Narcissists hate people. I don't know why they hate people who actually have a spiritual gift, but at the same time they're going around haunting them. It's weird. It's something that is way like complicated. Why are you hating people actually following that gut feeling, but at the same time you're going around searching for people who have the healing aura, who can give you so much, but at the same time you're hating them for the same thing? Like, what the fuck? So when nurses know that you're actually nurses, they get to. But the thing is with nurses people, they always reveal themselves. They always listen to the conservation when you are having them, and you'll be like, fuck, I can't believe myself. Like, the conservation, obvious, is gonna be about them. They're gonna talk about their struggling, and act like it's only them who are actually struggling. Everyone is going through something, whether now or maybe in a couple of weeks, in a couple of days, in a couple of months, in a couple of years. But everyone is going through something. And that person, you wanted to see them winning right now, it's their time of winning. You don't know how many times they suffer for whatever that they're actually receiving. Those blessings that they're actually receiving, they belong to them. They deserve them. That's a thing with narcissist people. Whenever people who are actually achieving their greatness, they say like, oh, it was easy for them, oh, there's nothing so much into that, like, you can, oh please, my part, they act like their part is the most heaviest. Don't get me wrong, my part was heavy, but I don't go around projecting my own part to other people. I don't go around acting like my part it was one of the hardest part, because I meet people and I was like, damn, she survived. Damn, she's so strong, you know. But for them, it has to be them. It has to act like they're actually special. For now, right now, I'm getting to refer. If you ever read the sub the sub subcycle of act of not giving a fuck, whereby the author mentioned Jim, and he mentioned you are not that special. Kind of, it's a topic, and that author mentioned. I was like, oh, fuck, this guy. He's just reminding of the encounter men that I actually came across. Like, he's talking about Jim, how Jim, he act like he's special, he act like he, he's the shit, he got it all together and what. So I'm talking, that guy was have that personality. He was just Jim in that subtitle act of not giving a fuck. And I was like, oh fuck, this guy is so Jimmy. He's so Jimmy. Mind you, he had nothing that he actually can brag about. Besides that, he actually learned the guitar skill and the fact that he got a voice for music. He was going around that he's the artist. He had a lot of wisdom. He was like he's know it all kind of vibe. And he was like, okay. And I was like, okay. So I'm talking about that when narcissists know they can't lie to a person who can see through them. It's just that they're gonna distract you in order for you to not listen to your gut feeling, because that's what they wanna do initially. They just want you to they obsess with controlling. They obsess with controlling you. So when I'm telling you, he didn't care about discussing anything. He was just telling me, and I was like, I remember he told me, because I was using another network, and he was also using another network. He said, yes, I don't think I can call you with this number. Why don't you buy why just change your number and just buy the same network as me so that I can call you. And I was like, mind you, I just met you, dude. I don't know you, and the fact that you just telling me that I should change my number just because you want. Who said you are the only one who's calling me? Like, you guys, like, narcissist people are worse, are the worst strangers you can ever come across. So don't just avoid people who constantly trying to tell you how to live your path. Avoid people who don't do um discussion, and then instead they obsess about telling you and you're supposed to jump whenever they said something. Avoid people who constantly uh not allowing you to think for yourself. Avoid people who constantly put you in a corner or guilty trip you in whatever that they want you to in whatever way that they want you to be. So that was an encounter with a narcissist that actually knows that he is actually a narcissist. Eventually, he did, as I said, he defined narcissist in terms of people that actually the way he defined it, that actually pretend to have things that they don't own. He got to define it because that's how he was able to make people not see who they who is true, who they true they what the fuck, who who they are. They trying to throw it off it, to not see who they true, who to not see who they true, who they are. So they're trying to distract you. They're trying to rearrange your gut feeling. They're trying to do whatsoever in order for you to be what. So whenever you coming across a narcissist that already know, just know that they cannot hide it forever. They cannot. They're always gonna leave. The thing about narcissists, they're always gonna leave red flags. They always gonna leave red flags because it's something that does not come from their soul. It's something that they got to practice. They mimic. It's something they got to do research about and how to come across about. They got to do. They got to do a research in order for them to. The thing is, they select information that is that they agree with. For whenever when they define narcissist, they select information that they can avoid. They don't select the whole information, so don't get it twisted. They will never. The thing with narcissists, they expect you to do everything for them. Just for example, the encounter with that guy, he was asking for me about the internet, and he wanted help for me to do an internet thing, and he was expecting me to do extra. And it was like, that was the first encounter. Like, how do you encounter someone who actually falls so entitled? They want you to do everything for them. And most of the time, I don't want to say it's a lot of narcissist people, it's because of when they are raised by a single mother. Narcissist people are born, whether their mother is a narcissist in herself, or maybe their mother spoiled their kids to the point that they feel like they're entitled. Women are supposed to give to them. They're not giving anything. They are just one woman. They want to exploit whoever they come across. You don't have to be a woman. You have to be a man. People actually narcissists, they are spoiled in a young age. Some of them break free from narcissistic, but narcissist disorder is something that is forever. It's something that will never change. Narcissist will never change. They can grow as much. For example, I'm gonna make a lot of people in the industry who are actually narcissist. Alker would never grow spiritual, but he grow a lot financially, probably. He grow a lot. A lot of people admire him. A lot of people see you, like a lot of people praise him. It's a pity that I never felt drawn to his music. Like, I've never. Future, I don't like him even today. Like, the guy Future, he had a lot of money. He made a lot of good music. People that listen to, but being a narcissist never changed. Now I heard that he released a song. It was talking bad about his ex. I don't know. I never listened to his song. Besides the song that pop up in my mind, like life is good, life is good, and or like it's a good song to listen. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they don't change. They can change how they look. They can change how they sound. They can mimic someone else's personality. They can change a lot, but they will never change. Narcissists don't change. They'll always remain the same. Whenever you feel like they change, it's because they got someone else that they mimic their personality. They're going around mimicking someone else's personality. And I got to the point that can black sheep turn up to be a narcissist? This is something that I'm still doing, that I'm still curious about whether narcissists can be a black sheep. I'm a black sheep, and I come across a lot of black sheep, and some of them were narcissistic, some of them were narcissist, some of them were just not even. So, and I realized this is something that I'm curious about right now. So thank you guys for watching, for liking, for sharing, for viewing my content. Thank you. Bye. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my content. Bye.